Food and Beverage Magazine Live, bringing food and beverage to life. With your hosts, James Beard Award winner Jennifer English and Food and Beverage Magazine publisher Michael Politz. Featuring leaders in the hospitality, branded food and beverage, and CPG industries, many of whom are Jennifer and Michael's friends in the business. For an informal and informative conversation where friends in the business share the latest intel, ideas, and best practices. Live, juicy inside scoop from the tastemakers, newsmakers, bread bakers, drink shakers, spoon lickers, clam diggers, farms, foodies, and friends of the food and beverage magazine world. Here are your hosts, Jennifer English and Michael Politz.
What do you do when life gives you lemons? Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer English, the editor-at-large of Food and Beverage Magazine, and this is Food and Beverage Magazine Live. Well, when I get lemons, I love to make lemonade. But when some people get lemons, they get inspired to do even more. There is an incredible company that we've discovered called Fabrizia, and they do the most magical things with lemons. We get pitched all the time at Food and Beverage Magazine, and not everything lives up to the promise or the potential. I'm going to introduce you to not only the world's most perfect cookie, and I'm a chocolate chip cookie lover, and there's not a chocolate chip in sight, but if you could smell the beautiful amalgamation, that alchemy of butter and sugar and lemons, you would know that this is, in fact, not just a cookie, but an airplane ticket to Italy. It brings the essence of the Sicilian lemons that are at the core of everything Fabrizia is doing. Yes, I'm gushing. I understand that. But you know me and know that from time to time, I find something I get so excited about that I will gush. And you have to remember that for everything we're here to gush about, we're your friends in the business. We take a hit so you don't have to. We taste crap so we only give you the credible. We do the hard work so that when we find things we love, you can go right to the good stuff. And that's what this is. The Fabrizia Lemon Baking Company is born of an amazing story from the most improbable place, my original hometown. Joining us now to tell the story of this company and how the most beautiful Sicilian lemons in the world ended up in Newton, Massachusetts, where they became the world's most perfect cookie, is Phil Mastroianni. He joins us now from the company headquarters and baking operations just over the border in New Hampshire. But I have to say, it's so good to go home for what turns out to be one of my all-time favorite finds on Food and Beverage Magazine. Phil, how are you?
Well, Jennifer, I'm doing well, especially after that. And, you know, we're looking for a sales director. So if you want the job, it's yours. I'm not kidding.
I could sell this. Let me tell you, I was surprised. Few things live up to the promise. I had to dig deeper. I didn't know where this company was located. And even if you had told me, it would have made me even a little bit more suspicious. This isn't the kind of story you expect to find just any day. You will hope.
Well, I really credit it all.
They're wonderful. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And I credit it all truly to the journey that's taken over a decade to get to this point that led us to bringing in fresh imported Sicilian lemons.
Yeah.
By the container, which at its core is in everything we do, and keeping our products all natural.
I would like to understand, however, how you ended up, that we started off by saying, when did life give you some lemons?
Well, life gave me, I've been very lucky. Life has not given me lemons. However, life has given me a lot of limoncello, and it gave a trip to Calabria, Italy with my great aunt when I was in my 20s, really opened my eyes to my ancestry and the heritage. And like you said, I'm from Newton, Mass, from a big Italian-American family. And it really opened up a passion for Italian culture and food that then led me to enjoying limoncello with a cousin of mine, Angelina, in Platamia, Calabria. And I've been captivated with limoncello where it is.
So we're not, this isn't this is about the
Yes,
limoncello, and we'll tell that story, but it's what the limoncello becomes. Because for people who are
exactly.
emerging from COVID, the reason we're tying this story all together is that life gave everybody lemons during COVID.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So the bakery story at our Fabrizia Lemon Baking Company, where we include limoncello and everything we bake, certainly came out of COVID. You know, last year was a very unpredictable year for all of our partners on-premise and restaurants, heartbreaking. And we had to pivot like everyone else and find lights on. And we started to think outside the box. And we've been telling people for years when we serve it at the limoncello, you don't need to just drink it. You can bake with it. It goes great with seafood. I've been putting it in cakes since I started the brand, making limoncello cakes to sample at liquor stores. And my brother and I said, why don't we start a bakery, really get behind what we're telling people to, bake with it, do other things, and then keep our employees busy. And it was the best decision we made all year. Because we ended up staying very busy because of it.
You have a limoncello. Where do you distill how does this get made? Where do the lemons go? Where do they come? Where do you do all this?
So we buy in base alcohol, 190 proof. We effectively make our limoncello the way that you would at home. And that's how we started. And the lemons to any limoncello maker and what goes into the baked goods, it's all about using fresh ingredients. Yeah. So the alcohol we buy in, 190 proof pure alcohol, and the lemons, we started off buying them at the supermarket, peeling them in Newton, Mass, in my parents' garage. And then, we've always had this production space in Salem, New Hampshire, our home. We started buying them in Chelsea at the fruit market. Finally, we called up Sunkist in California, said, hey, we're buying 20 pallets a year. Can we buy direct? They said, sure. And it was shortly after that, we decided to take a journey about 4 years ago, visit Sorrento, Amalfi, Calabria, and Sicily. A wonderful family, the Villari family in Sicily, and we've been importing our lemons only from them for the last 4 years, straight from Sicily.
What makes a Sicilian lemon so special? I know when we talk about Italy, we talk about places like Capri and some of the other regions being very lemonlicious, but there's also something very specific and special about Sicilian lemons. Why did you choose those?
So I would say, I'm glad you've asked that question. I'm not allowed to talk about lemons at home. If I bring up lemons, my wife says stop, but I could go on and on about it. And I would say all Italian lemons are wonderful. Just like Italian food, you drive 10 miles, there's a new specialty. Right. Drive 10 miles or maybe 50 miles in Italy, and there's a new specific type of lemon they grow. And they really are all great. The Sicilian lemons are a little more peppery for me. And that's what gives that zest, the zestiness that really comes through in the limoncello. And they also have the flattest land, which allows them to make them at the best price. So it's a combination of the two.
Let's talk a little bit about the magic of a lemon and how lemon oil or lemon essence or artificial lemon flavor can make or break the quality of anything you do, anything you make, and why these particular baked goods are as good as they are. Is it just the limoncello that makes them lemony? I mean, I'm not asking for your
no, absolutely not. And that was the thing we found out the hardest when we had this idea in around July of last year. And right off the bat, we thought, well, we'll just put in some limoncello and some real lemon zest, and that will get us there. And it didn't. It does not come through enough in the batter. So then you bring up artificial flavoring. You'll never find it here. We're like against it. That's what our competitors use. So we had to find some very fine, organic lemon, basically dehydrated lemon, to then add in to get that kick to that on that cookie in particular. To get that there, you need to, because if you add too much limoncello, first of all, you get a watery mess. You don't get a batter. So that was one of the first challenges we had to tackle as we became bakers.
Please talk for me about how you chose the assortment of biscotti. Are these Italian recipes that you made your own? Are these family recipes?
No, they are not. We do want to make. I have a great aunt Rosina. She's the one that brought me to Calabria, and we're going to try to come up with one of her ricotta cookies soon with a lemon rendition. We wanted to do it for Easter, we weren't able to. But no, what we did was we actually, we started by making limoncello, which, by the way, I'm not that smart. Anybody can do it, right? But we just wanted to make it with really good ingredients, and that's why we started with the cookie. The cookie is an easier item if you bake them at home. Everyone does it across America. You don't need to be listening to this show to know that. And we started there, and for a month all we did was the cookie. Then we came out with the whoopie pie, which from a culinary perspective is a little bit of a joke, if you will, but they're delicious and they went really well. And we were really walking before we ran. The biscotti certainly kicks it up a notch for us because it takes more time. Mm-hmm. Going back and forth in and out of the oven, cutting them. But that was the third item, so we're just sort of learning as we go.
They're all delicious. The
Thank
blondies.
You.
I never imagined a lemon blondie could be so delicious. It feels
that one almost didn't happen, Jennifer. The blondie in the last round, back to my wife, she goes, "This is disgusting." And it was because I was trying to go over the top on the lemon. I was getting carried away. Sorry, it's a little, Anna, can you just tell me to be a little quieter? Sorry, it's getting a little loud in the background, but they were, we ended up ratcheting the lemon back a little, and then we increased the amount of the white chocolate and found the great balance. What we learned through that is, we want everything to have lemons and limoncello in our baked goods. That's what makes it different. But don't sacrifice that mission over it just tasting freaking delicious, which is what we aim to go do in the end.
You don't even make it delicious. You make it irresistible. And I want to make sure you start adopting that language because it's one of my favorite food words. And so few companies get to irresistible. And one of the hardest things is not only to get there, but to stay there producing at that level. Irresistible is the best word because you can't not have another bite. One of the things we do here at Food and Beverage Magazine, and one of the things we've done for over a year throughout COVID, is that we have looked for companies that have a silver lining story. Because there are 110,000 plus restaurants that have closed, displacing literally legions of boys and girls, men and women, out of their jobs, out of their food families, and out of their communities. And one of the things that is very important is to remind everybody that as we reemerge, that there are so many ways you can reimagine who you are and where your passion and your talent in the world of food can go. Can your side hustle become your main hustle? Your main hustle was limoncello. You then did a side hustle of cookies, and look where it's gotten you. These might be the best cookies in the United States.
And thank you once again. Thank you. And it was, well, we weren't going to make the cookie if it wasn't going to be good, because then maybe people say, but it's all about just trying something and experimenting. And, we didn't spend a lot of money to start. There's 2 ovens behind me. We started with one, and it was $1,600. We bought it used, And I think the key lesson was just, once again, we've been focused on limoncello for a decade. Think outside the box a little. How can we not lay off our employees this year?
Right.
And how do we get through 2020? And in the end, you're right. We stayed so busy. And now I thought it was going to be a seasonal thing. And now it's not. So now we're getting busy in the distillery and we're trying to figure out how to keep cooking.
One of the things you did is you took the lemon shells from making limoncello and used them in the making of the cookies. One of the things you did to keep your company going and your employees engaged was you started making hand sanitizer. Talk a little bit about what it takes as an operator, an owner, a manager to be thinking like that, and how even in this moment, we're still, where do we go? What do we do?
Well, now that you brought up the sanitizer, that really was the linchpin that opened my mind to looking outside the box, because a little over a year ago at the beginning of March, when the pandemic really set in, I was looking at, just like so many restaurants, and it breaks my heart. How am I going to pay my Amex bill this month?
Right.
And that realization actually passed. I came up with the notion that I wasn't going to pay it, right? It was like, because the orders were being canceled. People weren't bobbing and make hand sanitizer when the FDA said you could do it. My back was against the wall, and I said, let's go. And we did whatever we needed to do 24 hours a day to get the materials to make it. And it was great for the community, too. We were able to donate a lot of bottles, over 20,000, and keep the lights on. When we got back to business, the world didn't end. People kept buying limoncello, our canned cocktails. It was because of the new mentality of when my back was against the wall and I had to make hand sanitizer or go bust. That made me realize, Phil, Fabrizia is not just about limoncello anymore, or the limoncello that's in the cans. Make it about lemons and find things that you enjoy to do. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I can't stand making hand sanitizer. I don't wake up in the morning excited to make hand sanitizer. But that's why the bakery was on point, because it's about food. We're from Italian-American family. This makes us proud when we can bring this to family and friends. And we were able to apply what we do to something that we love.
I am so happy to have you on the show. I'm so happy to introduce the world to the Fabrizia Lemon Baking Company's unbelievable. Can you see this? The Limoncello Cookies. This is one of the 5 best cookies in the United States. I'll stake my name on it. It's a great.
Well, they're only available online because we're so new at it. We don't even wholesale. So get them out fast. And, thanks for having us on, Jennifer. We're all about living life zesty. And we're excited that you found us. And thank you.
I'm excited too. And I want to say congratulations. Let's tell everyone where they can get the cookies.
So Fabrizia, lemonbakingco.com.
I have to tell you, I wish I had some of my favorite New England scallops right now, because I've been dreaming of what to do with them with this limoncello, and maybe even making a little gremolata with one of these cookies. I'm just saying. Fiorella's
Cucina in Newton, Mass, yours in my hometown, has been baking limoncello scallops since they opened. When you're in town, you got to try them out.
We got to go together.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Take care, guys. Ciao.
Ciao. Grazie.
Whether you are thinking about becoming a restaurateur or you are already in the business, Michael Politz has written a must-read, The Food and Beverage Magazine's Guide to Restaurant Success. Pick up your copy today at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million, or wherever fine books are sold.